Okay, seems like we're going. Firstly, I want to apologize for being a little bit awkward in this video. I'm not really used to speaking on camera, but I want to share a lesson that I have learned within this last couple of months over things that have happened. I know my shirt says anxiety, has a nice bunny on it. You can get the shirt at tturtle.com. I am not sponsored or affiliated. I make nothing from this. So, let me talk. Over the last couple of years, I have been struggling with wanting to talk about some things that have happened to me. And recently I realized that I don't have to talk about them. In the world that we are in currently, it's pushed very hard to go and get therapy, to see a doctor for mental health, and maybe be put on some antidepressants, anti-anxieties. And while I do agree with getting help is beneficial, I don't agree that everybody has to go to therapy. Not everybody needs to talk about the things that have happened to them. For my own experience and why I feel the need that it needs to be said, you don't have to talk about everything that's happened to you. I've had some things for the past few years that has bothered me so much to the point of feeling anxiety anytime that I feel like I should talk about it or that I have to talk about it. And even with family, I don't feel comfortable talking about those things. And it just got to the point of I couldn't really function because I was so stressed out about how do I talk about this? How do I bring it up in a way that they would understand without making me feel awful or making it about them or about something else or bringing in like the other people involved that was making me feel uncomfortable without going into too much detail about it. The experience I had was over several years, like I've said. It really negatively impacted my mental health to the point where I started making decisions based more off of impulse instead of thinking about the repercussions of what was happening. And it's very hard to let all of that go. But when I stopped trying to think about how can I tell people, how can I word this in a way that's good or wouldn't be me trying to seek attention, when I let all of that go and I started feeling that, when I started to realize, better phrasing, that I don't have to talk about what happened, I actually started feeling better. I was able to move on and heal and start trying to live my life again. There are situations where you do have to talk, whether you want to or not. Some of that would be situations like being raped, domestic abuse, if police are involved, things like that. You don't have to talk about the entirety of the experience, but those are situations that you have to talk about it at least a little bit. For my experience, where it was, I guess, a little bit of domestic abuse, it was a relationship involved, and that's all I'm going to say about it. It was to a degree where the police couldn't be involved even if I tried. It was a long distance relationship, and so different jurisdictions do different things. And even though it was severe emotional abuse on one side, no matter what I could do, police couldn't get involved, nothing could get involved. The only thing I could do is just block the person and hope they don't contact me or try and come to my house. So that's the situation I was in, and trying to move past all of the things that were said to me to make me feel so bad about myself. I just lost my train of thought. But moving past everything that was said and realizing I don't have to talk about it if I don't want to was the catalyst for me getting better. It's been about a month and a half now since all of that has happened to me, and letting it go and not trying to make myself the victim and trying not to bring it up to people who already have known the situation for the last several years and people who have told me that it wasn't a good situation for me to be in. Not constantly bringing it up to them and just letting myself heal the way that I should made me come out better in the end. I'm not saying that everybody will be better off not talking about things that have happened to them, but for some people who feel like therapy isn't working for them, or they feel like they don't want to talk about it, you don't have to. If there's a situation where you need to, where legality is involved, or your medical health is involved, then it would be more beneficial for you to at least explain a bit of it, but not every detail needs to be told. In a situation to where police are involved, it is a better idea to try and give as much detail, but if it's a situation where, like, for example, rape, you don't have to give the details of what the person had done to you in excruciating detail. The more that you can give in details of what acts they performed and like how they did it, if they had knives or something else, or just in general, that would be more beneficial because then the charges can be stacked. But aside from that, you don't have to go into like how they touched you or how it felt if they grabbed you or whatever. Like, that's just for an example. Not every detail needs to be given, because I know in my experience of being a female and being grabbed and attempted to be walked off with, it's not a pleasant feeling, and it's not really a pleasant feeling to constantly bring up in my own mind how that felt. But being like, yeah, they grabbed me, this is where they grabbed me, and that's it, is pretty much the details I'll need to be given. Otherwise, for example, with family, depending on how your family dynamic is, you might trust your family more than you trust a therapist, and that's fine. For most people, they don't always feel comfortable explaining that they've been in an emotionally abusive relationship, or they've been raped, or they were in a car crash and they don't feel like talking about what happened, or if they're an alcoholic or a druggie or whatever, or even being in the LGBTQ community. You don't have to talk about it. You don't have to get approval from somebody else just to justify how you feel. You don't have to try and make everybody on your side. I know that it's a very uncomfortable feeling. It can be very anxiety-inducing to try and tell somebody how you feel when all you need is a hug, or all you need is just the comfort of somebody. And that's what I kind of wish our society would turn into, would be more of a very supportive society. Not one that demands that you explain everything that has happened to you in order for you to get support, in order for you to get comfort. I'm not a very sociable person. I don't have a great family relationship. So for me, not talking about things and not looking for comfort, for me, is fine. I don't need it. I have friends that I can talk to, albeit they're all technically internet friends. Only one of them lives in the same state as I do. But they're still 8 hours away from me. I can't just go and get a hug from them if I needed it. Most people don't have the luxury, especially in a pandemic, to get comfort anymore. And it's very unfortunate for our society. I wish it was different. I wish people would comfort first and ask questions later. But that's not what we live in. So I just want to be the reassurance to people who feel like they don't want to talk about something, to know that it's okay to not want to talk about something. It's okay to say, hey, I need a hug, but I don't really want to talk about what's happening. Can I have the comfort that I need so I can heal? I just really, really wish we could turn into that kind of society where it's more comforting before judgmental. Unfortunately, again, like I've said, we live in a pandemic currently, It doesn't seem like it's getting much better, and it doesn't seem like things are going to change to being a more inclusive, comforting society. We're just going to keep pushing apart and expecting people to just talk about things when they don't want to. But it's okay. You don't have to talk about something if it really truly will make you feel worse talking about it. Again, legality and medical things aside, if everything's okay and you feel like not talking about it is the way for you to heal, it's okay. You don't have to talk about it. I'm just going to keep repeating myself at this point, so I want to just say I appreciate the people who can give comfort without needing to know what's happening. You people are the best, and I really sincerely wish there's more of you, and I appreciate those of you who exist. Please just keep being you and keep being open, keep being comforting to people who need it. Otherwise, I'm honestly just going to keep repeating myself, so hope you have a good day. It's the 1st. It's a new day, a new month. So try and make the best of it if you can. And for those of you who are struggling, I sincerely wish you the best. I've been struggling my whole life with a myriad of things. So just know that while it might not get better, it can get easier to survive. So with that, I will end the video and see you tomorrow, hopefully. Have a good day.